in the mid-80s and mid-90s, we lost very brilliant, creative Nagas to these drugs. No? And we see the result 20 years later. 10 years back or even today, if the Naga society lacked leaders, both in the political field or in technical or the bureaucracy, I think that is the price we have paid for addiction. And today, again, sunflower is coming in a very big way. I'm so scared. The impact of this, we will see only after 20 years. Yeah, I am Dr Phyobemo Ngully, consultant psychiatrist, but from the 90s onward, as I started practicing mental health, I have been involved with drug addiction, the problems related to drug addiction. Now, initially in the 80s and 90s, the word drug addiction was popularly used. Later on, scientifically, they said, no, that is derogatory, you should not use addiction, you should use dependence. But in present time, this 21st century, we are asked to use substance use disorder, which that thing is quite neutral and quite respectful of a person who is dependent on substance. In the Nagaland context, because I have worked in this field for quite some time. In fact, let me just share one client who was really dependent and who had gone through various places in India. Finally, he came back to Kohima in Kripa. That time I was looking after. He was our client. He came to recovery. And after recovery, he didn't want to go back home because he was afraid of relapsing. So he wanted to become a staff. So because he wanted to become a staff, after the probation period, we sent him to Bombay and then we sent him to Delhi for training in this field as a counselor. Then he started working with us for about 9-10 years. I wouldn't mention his name, he's no more, but he left behind to me, which I can never forget. Because what he told me was, doctor, when I was young, I wanted to become a doctor like you, medical profession to help people. But my father was an engineer. My father wanted me to become an engineer. My mother was very religious. She wanted me to do theology and become a missionary. But today, having worked with you all for this many years, am I not a doctor? Am I not contributing to the healing of the addicts who come for treatment to Kripa? Am I not an engineer, building bridges of relationship between a lost son and a father, between a lost son and a mother? And am I not a missionary winning so many souls? So I used to think, wow, this is really great. If anybody wants 3-in-1 profession, this is it. So I look at person dependent on substance as a patient. He actually, though the relatives so fed up with him, the relatives are so helpless, and because of being helpless, because they don't know what to do, they want to help but they don't know what to do, so they start rejecting, and then they start looking for some magical solution, which doesn't really happen because he's a patient, and unless a patient is treated properly, recovery is not possible again. But as a patient, as I say, an AD, now we call it a person with substance use disorder, he really suffers personally. And I have seen that he knows that he should not be taking this substance, alcohol or opiates or any of those substances. He knows this is destroying my career, this is destroying my physical health, this is destroying my relationship. But in spite of knowing all those, he has to take. So that's why I started thinking, that means the drug must be doing him something good, because he can sacrifice so much for this one. So when I start looking at that way, many a time I found that they actually have very deep-seated psychological pain, whereby they found that only this substance can relieve them from that pain. So we have to be aware from the ethic point of view. Then family member also suffer along with him because this is a family disease. He has to use all those manipulative way to get his way done, to get money. So family also suffer. So we have to help the family while helping the patient. The family also has to be helped, and at the same time, the community has to be sensitized, and the community should not just try to lose trust on them. And a person suffering from this disease, their real suffering is because of their loss of trust from their family members and from their community. Because trust has also relationship to respect and honor. So, so they suffer so much. But then over a period of time, and I still do see clients from time to time, and even the Kripa Foundation, I'm no longer actively with them, but in times of need, I'm also. So over a period of time, I have found that we Nagas are under the subject of a very strong market force. And we have to be aware, this business in drug is very lucrative, a lot of money. So naturally, all those people who are dealing with this drug, they target our adolescents. Because the adolescents, once you get them hooked on this one, they will, if they don't die earlier by overdose or other, they will continue to take for no less than 20 years till they become something, and then they go for treatment. So if you can have a market of adolescents 20 years, wow, So, and I can give you an example. I was the one who brought the oral substitute therapy, we call it OST, with the British funding agency in the early 2000s, 2004, I think 5, around that time. So the first project as a trial, we had 200 clients in Dimapur, 200 in Kohima, and we had 100 in Fitsero, Rekezu Welfare Society. So I have to train up all those staffs who have to work here, because the staff should not have any judgmental attitude on the client. They should be they should accept them unconditionally, even with their body language, because dependent persons are very sensitive people. So we started, and then the project took off well in Kohima, then Dimapur, and then Fitsero also. But after about 2 weeks in Fitsero, the clients stopped coming. So they rang me up. So I was also worried as to why. Have I done something wrong? So I rushed to Fitsero. Then I went, and then I met the stakeholders, had meeting, this, that. Then later on, I came to know that the word of mouth spread that if you take this drug, your genital organ will shrink. So the clients who were coming, they stopped coming because who wants to shrink? But I went on deeper as to find out how this thing happened. Actually, later I learned that this word of mouth was spread by the peddlers, because they have brought the stock, but the clients are now going away, so they have to sell. So see how intelligently the market force works for us also. So there are various factors which we have to be aware and to address. And the treatment for a person dependent on substance, we call substance, alcohol is also a part of that. Alcohol, opiates, and all these cough syrups and all together. Now, of course, other drugs have come, those party drugs, the amphetamines, and sunflower is going on now. So all this, we categorize all of them in substance. So for substance use disorder, the client is very important. We have to address to his needs. And the first treatment is the detox part, because we cannot allow them to suffer from withdrawal so extensively, Because we said, well, we want to help him. So if he's not getting sleep, we may have to give him the same kind of medicine that he used, And after going through the detox, definitely the rehabilitation for treatment of the psychological part, there are two components, physical component and psychological component. So rehabilitation takes care of the psychological component. And in the psychological component, all the psychologically available methods, and both even spiritually, because we often follow the 12-step modules of Alcoholics Anonymous. All these have to be used in order to overcome one basic thing called craving. And it's not so easy. This craving is something which they have to learn through empowerment by going through the rehab. And once they have that power with them, and spiritually we said that that power is not actually with you, it's with God. But in order to let that power come, you have to open the way. So that's why in the Kripa module with the Alcoholics Anonymous, we call 12 step. The highest step is when you reach powerlessness and unmanageability. So those who reach that step, they to maintain recovery and they to contribute back to the society. But those who don't reach that step, they go on relapsing. So for those frequent relapses, it is important. The oral substitution therapy has become very important, because I have seen that people who have not gone through the whole journey of treatment, but who are with oral substitution therapy, they hold on to the job, And but one thing remarkably that I found in my own way is that in the mid-80s and mid-90s, we lost very brilliant, creative Nagas to these drugs. And we see the result 20 years later, not immediate. So I used to think that if those young people at that time who are studying in Delhi and Mumbai and all brilliant, creative, they become victim and they died of overdose, or even if those are alive, they are, to some extent, their blunting of their intelligence have taken place. So they could not contribute back to the society. So if 10 years back or even today, if the Naga society lacked leaders, both in the political field or in technical or the bureaucracy, I think that is the price we have paid for addiction. And today, again, sunflower is coming in a very big way. I'm so scared. The impact of this, we will see only after 20 years. This is something that cannot be taken so lightly. Why I'm saying is we're taking it so lightly is because we stigmatize too much. And then we always look for an easy way out, and we don't fully appreciate the suffering of the patient. Any disease, medically speaking, any disease is a relapsing disorder. There is no fool that you'll never relapse again. And that's why in the treatment of addiction, we try to let the client understand and to accept that I'm a recovering addict. They should not fool themselves that I have recovered, I have defeated. No, I'm a recovering addict. Because who knows, he may relapse tomorrow. And this is the reason we try to sensitize the faith-based organization that when they do a crusade for drug addiction, please don't let them promise anything. Many a time they'll say that, I promise in the name of Jesus Christ that I will give up today. And then they relapse. Now when they relapse, they suffer from guilt. They think that, I promise in the name of God to give, but I'm bad. So I'm the worst human being. So let me become more worse than what I'm worse. And let me drink in more of my friend. That danger is there. That's why we have to know that this is a relapsing disorder. And one very important thing about the relapse is the loss of trust from the family members and from the community, in the sense that he has come for treatment and then he has come to recovery. We send him back home. Now the home environment, sometimes they will send him for some errands to go and buy something. And when he doesn't bring back all the changes or this thing, then they start questioning. That makes him think that, I went through all this treatment and all that and you still don't trust me. So when that lack of trust, that mistrust comes, that go and trigger the pain again in the psychology. And that when it triggered that circuit, he would go and look out for the last time. So that is one mistrust. The other is the society, even in the neighborhood, always looking down on him. Sense of rejection, right? All these little thing can trigger that craving, that go and trigger the craving area, and then they are back to thing. So that's why the society is accept. Unless proven otherwise, they should accept. So those are the one that really brings about relapses. One, of course, definitely is incomplete treatment. Like any illness, let it be TB or malaria, if you do not complete the treatment, then you definitely have relapses, and it becomes worse, more severe. So even here also, many are under the impression that if I finish the detox, it's okay, without going through rehab. But that's not completion of treatment. So such cases will invariably relapse, because after detox, they're all right for 1 week, 2 weeks, again back. So that's why it's important that they go through the psychological part of the treatment, that is the rehab part. So incomplete treatment is one factor. The other factors are like those who have gone through recovery, if they are not again gainfully employed, if that they don't have any sustenance, because if they are employed, if there's some job or something, that gives them the respect, that gives them some due respect and recognition as a human being. Now, when that respect and recognition as a human being is not there, then they do relapse again. So those probably are what I can remember as of now about relapses. But the important thing is to complete the treatment. Second is family must accept, community must accept. For a person dependent on substance or person suffering from substance use disorder, when he is on the substance, the brain chemicals will function according to the substance that he uses. Now, when we stop them using those substances, the brain will give so much problem physically. So that's why they will have those withdrawal symptoms, like an alcohol withdrawal symptom. In fact, alcohol withdrawal symptom is more severe than opiate withdrawal symptom. Alcohol withdrawal symptom can be associated very severely with auditory hallucination, whereby they hear voices threatening them, about to kill them. So they can be violent to themselves, they can be violent to others. So that's why this detox part is always to be, and that's the first stage of treatment. Detox part best to be treated in a hospital setup with doctors and nurses who have exposure in this field to take care of them, to take care of the hallucination, to give them enough medicine even to put them to sleep, and to give them even enough medicine to relieve them of the pain. Of course, we can't give them exactly like they were taking, but then now from illegitimate drug that they were taking, now we give legitimate drug. So detox do not take more than 10 to 14 days to overcome the physical suffering. So many people are under the false impression that now I'm all right, I can deal with it, no need. But it's not complete. That's only the beginning. That's only the introductory. Physical symptoms all right. Now he sleeps well, he eats well, and no more pain. But the psychological is not all right yet. So therefore, they must go to a psychological treatment. And most of the psychological treatment, for most of the rehabs, for the psychological part of the treatment, they would require the person to spend no less than 90 days, 3 months. So I used to think that for this client who have wasted 4, 5 or even 10 or 20 years, 90 days of investing for himself is actually a very great investment. But many of them, they don't want to sacrifice. No, I have this to do, I have that, I have family, I have children. But that is deceiving themselves. So that's why if you really want to come to recovery, and there are enough people who have come to recovery and who are contributing back to their society. I won't like to name, because I may not name everybody, but there are a lot of people who have gone through this journey of addiction and who are contributing back to the society. But those are the people who have fully completed their treatment by going to rehab. And in rehab, what you do, there are different modules of rehab. For that matter, the Hong Kong module of rehab is work and work and work. So you go on working, because when you work and when you sweat, actually your brain rewards you with endorphin. That is almost like the opiate, okay? So they work and work, but there are some, like the Kripa module is based on the 12-step modules of the Alcoholics Anonymous, and which is quite fitting with the Christian principle, and this 90 days is spent in such a way that out of 24 hours, every day, 8 hours of rest, that means sleep and other things, 8 hours of activity, and 8 hours of studying. So there will be counselors and there will be other person who will come and give you different kind of inputs, and then the one-to-one counseling. So it's well structured in that way, and for that person is to make an effort. Now, why treatment fail most of the time is parents. They said, go for treatment. As you complete, I'll buy you a car. You go. As you complete. So this client who comes there, he's thinking only about the car. If I get 90 days, I'll get a car. He will relapse. And those who come for treatment to rehab, one thing that I have seen is those who intellectualize the program, they also relapse. The program is structured in such a way to emotionalize it, not intellectualize it. Because the moment you intellectualize it, you are rational thinking, this, that, I can do, and they're intelligent. So no, I don't need this person. So who is he to tell me anything? I know everything. So if you intellectualize, then you relapse. But if you emotionalize and humble down, then, oh, I see, this is an illness, and I didn't know. But this staff who have gone through that journey, they mean well. I think I have to go through, So that's how that rehab program becomes very important for people to come to recovery. I've been just observing that Sunflower is targeting young adolescents. No, high school, really. And Sunflower, I learned, is a kind of spurious opiate, So that's why it is cheaper. And the marketing strategy is such that they will try to sell you cheap, but then as it is affordable to you today or tomorrow, 1 week or 1 month, but after that you find that you can't. Like in the actual opiates, like the heroin that our children used to use in the mid-80s or 90s, the effect of those white sugar or brown sugar would last for about 8 hours in your body. That means I take now, after 8 hours, if I don't take, I'll start having withdrawal. So that's why I have to take. But I learned that Sunflower has very short duration of action. So they have to take after every 4 hours or 3 hours. So it may be cheap, but see how many times you take, So this whole marketing strategy. So marketing strategy now, the government has various people to work here, like for doctors and the nurses, the medical, we are entrusted to look after the detox part and the physical thing. The psychologists and others are to take care of the rehab part. Now, while the patient is being taken care in that way, the excise and the police are supposed to control the supply, and at the same time administration is to overlook all these things. Medically, are you doing well? Excise, so all this must come and work together. And for that matter, because though scientifically we are not encouraged to speak like that, but having gone through this journey for quite some time, I also become quite spiritually conscious that human being, there is definitely a spiritual element which we can't neglect. So that's where the church comes. But sometimes the faith-based organizations are too judgmental, which really puts off anything. They should try to give them the spiritual feeding, not trying to condemn them as a sinner, or not trying to condemn them as a, gone case, You are a sinner, sure you are going to hell, nothing more we can do, but all this, if we use all this factor to address the issue, I would say that there is a very good, there can be very good chance, So I think that is what I can say. Firstly, we have to accept this as our common problem, both the church, rather than trying to deny it. He said, so long as it's not affecting me, it's okay, it's this bad children, so long as it's not affecting, it's okay. No, we have to accept it as our common problem. We must accept it as our church problem, So that once we accept that, then we can make out some strategy. And then through that strategy, we can, I'll give you an example. Anyway, I'm just going to mention his name. I think he will not mind. Mr. Sangam, he suffered, and he went for treatment to Kripa in Mumbai, and the Kripa module is such that once you come to recovery, you must pay back something to the society, because during your addiction you have harmed the society, you have harmed the family, so you have to repay back. So that's how Sangam used that philosophy, and he went and had a long discussion with the Mogokchung, the Ao Baptist Church in Mogokchung, and after sensitizing them, they first started having detox camp every year once, and then they started, those who came for detox camp, they could screen out that, okay, these persons without going to rehab, I think given a chance will do well, but this person, they have to go to rehab. So the church paid for all the expenses. So that's how the Mogokchung Town Baptist Church is doing very well. And when it came to us, we also made it very sure that if the church is really going to do something, you must have one staff only for this program. So they had one theologian for this program. So now and then the church provides them a space every Sunday. So those who have come for the detox camp, and those who didn't go to rehab, or even those who came back from rehab, after the church service, they will meet in their respective room they are given over a cup of tea or other dinner. So when they meet like that, they say, "Arey, he has not come last time, he has not come 2-3 times, what happened?" So the whole group goes and see them. So that's why they try to build up that community strength. So this is what Mogokchung Town Baptist Church has done. And I think they have spread to almost most of the churches, even in Dimapur also. And in some of those programs, I also have been involved with them. No? So this is how the faith-based organization must do. From the community, not just going on talking, but trying to see how best we can strengthen and help wherever rehabs are there. How best we can even support the detox centers, because as a medical personnel as I am, I may work very sincerely, very hard to say that, but when there is not much appreciation from the community, I may slack down. No? But if there is a kind of that motivation, oh, you all are doing great, and this, that, and then, our Naga style of that, but if that is done from the community, at our community this time we will go and visit the rehab, have a fellowship with them, and then we'll go and give them food for today or all. So I know that community support. So if we do like that, and then at the same time, the church and the community together must accept that he's a sick person. So our Naga style, when somebody is sick, we all go and visit. So that community and the community leader must try to sensitize and give appreciation and motivation to the excise, to the police, and must try to sensitize the policy maker. So if we have multiple approach like that, then we will see very good result. And another thing the community can do is, in fact we did that, is to motivate anyone in the, like supposing a family is having that addict, no? We try to isolate them. Nobody goes and see them. But the community try to accept that family and try to motivate that person. And if they are short of funds, this and that, we will sponsor him. We'll take care of his treatment. How much per month? 10,000. No problem. We'll give. So then that client, he becomes obligated to his colony. No, he becomes obligated, and he will definitely return back what you have invested on him in a more larger way, because he feels really obligated. No, so that is how the community and the family must do, and the community leaders must motivate the policy makers. No, the right from the politicians to the police to the administration. You all are doing great job. No? Most of these people who work in this field are unappreciated lot. You know? I think the thing that I can say, from what I look at it, it should not be taken too legally. If we try to put the whole, if we look solution only from the legal point of view, the narcotic, drug and substance, that put them in jail and arrest them and kill them no, it doesn't work because they are patient. So it should not be too late. There has to be a human approach, not legal approach. And we talk about demand reduction. So the colony people come to identify this thing, and then if rather than in the colony, supposing you find a peddler, don't be too harsh even on the peddler, because he's also doing business, and he is also doing with a lot of guilt feeling, but he has to sustain. Don't be too harsh on that also. But if we can start sending all our affected person for treatment, he will stop his business. Like for example, this the person, I'm forgetting his name, the Ao Baptist Church in Morung, whom they appointed, because our discussion was that unless they appoint somebody, we will not start this program. So they appointed a theologian. Now, the first detox camp we had in the Clark Theological College, after the first detox camp, one day he rang me and said, "Doctor, I'm going to resign." I said, "Why?" He said, I feel very humiliated, because now when I go around the bush joints and where the cell, they're all abusing me. You should be in the pulpit. You should not be roaming around in the drug and bush joints. What are you doing?" So I said, "Don't resign now. You can come and be a staff. We can just put you in Kripa for 1.5 months, and you just be there. Just observe how they do." So he came and spent 1.5 months. Then after that he went back. Then after the second detox and third detox, I asked him, "How are you feeling?" "Now I'm feeling very comfortable." "How?" He said, "Now when he goes around those bush joints, the children are like, 'Oh yeah, uncle, we have to thank you. If it was not for you, my father would have died.'" And many of those bush joints, they have stopped selling wine. So this is demand reduction. And this is not isolating Mudu Bikiri Guramono Biase. No. Let them, but we start treating. Now when they are treated, there will be no demand, then they have to stop their business. So we have to look, those are all long term. But our Nagas, we do things very impulsively. We catch them, I know what we did in Kohima those days, in the 80s. We all remember. No, that's not a way to deal with the addiction problem. No?